Let's take those thrifted items and turn them into beautiful fall decor. Hello everybody and welcome in to Emily's Upcycled Home. We are going to start off with these wicker pumpkins. They have this beautiful wicker detailing that I just love, that natural element. I did get these from Burlington. They are not thrifted items, but I still thought I can come in and give them a little makeover and bring some softness to them. Using these beautiful greenery from Joann's, I'm going to pick the stems off and just simply use my hot glue gun to attach everything. Now I do have a second pumpkin here that I will most likely do off camera since I will be repeating the same process, but I do want the stems to drape from each side of that pumpkin. I did already come in with a dab of hot glue there, and I am just placing my stems into that little groove of the pumpkin, pressing it in firmly. And I'm gonna hold these in place for a while because I don't know what's going on, but the hot glue isn't sticking so quickly. I think there's some like wax going on the pumpkin, so we'll give it a little bit more time to hold. Now for a simple bowl, I am coming in with just some fabric strips here from Jubilee Fabrics Homespun, and adding a little delicateness and softness with a fabric bow. Just gonna maneuver that and place the bowl how I want. And once again, you guys, just hot gluing that into place and holding that firmly so our hot glue does what it needs to do. And then buttons, you guys. This project is going to be completed with just a cute little button. I chose this vintage fabric one here just to add a little pop of greenery. On the other one, of course, is a different button. Adding more hot glue here and holding down everything firmly so it stays in place. Trimming up the tails to finish off the look, and then these cute wicker pumpkins add a small transformation that I think you guys brought a little touch of softness and elegance to these, as well as that wicker rustic element and natural look. You guys let me know what you think of these two pumpkins down in the comments. If you would like to see more DIY projects and catch me live, come on over to Facebook and give me a follow. Do you guys have those vintage wood bowls from thrift stores? They come so many shades. I'm going to continue this project. This was on our Facebook Live. You see, I already have some detailing in coming in with this rose botanical transfer from IOD products. We are going to bring in that beautiful rust foliage, and we are going to attach it with some hot glue. Now I have mine I keep in my house layered up on my peg rack or my coat rack. It just adds a cute rustic element. And as far as our pumpkin is concerned, I like the bright contrast of this beautiful white pumpkin against that rustic wood tone and that rust foliage. So we're going to keep our pumpkin as is. You can buy a bulk of these at Hobby Lobby. And continuing with our second one as well, adding that same white pumpkin and using our hot glue to attach everything. Hold it in place as it sets and repeat the process for our second one. To add a rust element to these pieces, I use this floor wire from Amazon to create some trindles, and the back of my pen, you just simply roll your wire around and make a little curly cue, as I call them, and we are just going to attach that to the tip of our pumpkin with some hot glue, and then finish it off with a little piece of that same foliage, bringing that rust color to the top of our pumpkin. To add a hanging element, I'm using a coffee dyed ribbon here and my hot glue gun, attaching this to the back, and I want this to hang level, so I am attaching it to the center of our bowl. I feel that this is just the best placement for it to lay flat on a surface you're hanging from. I will repeat the process for that second one as well, trimming off the excess. Adding a little bit more support so our ribbon's not so floppy, I add a little bit more hot glue towards the top of our bowl and place that ribbon down. Keeping in with our natural look, I think these bowls have a cute and simple rustic look with an elegance. Again, playing off those natural wood bowls and those bright white pumpkins, giving it that contrasting look, as well as coming in with that beautiful rust foliage. To shop IOD, Dixie Belle, or Fusion products, please use my affiliate link down in the description. For our last project, we are going to upcycle this glass cloche. Now, I had this in my stash for a while. It is from Target, I believe, but we're going to take it from this simple to a rustic, glam, chic, whatever you want to call it. But first, let's thoroughly clean up our glass surface inside as well as the outside using that foam glass cleaner and some napkins to wipe out all the surface. And then to embellish this piece, I'm coming in with the IOD traditional potch transfer and cutting out my image here. Now remember, you want to have a good placement for your piece here, because once you put it on that glass, it's going to stick really well and you're not going to be able to get it back up. So make sure you pick out the surface very well, attach your piece, rub it on, and then go ahead and use your transfer tool or a stick to transfer on that image by simply rubbing the image onto your surface choice. Once I have that surface on, I'm going to varnish it with the back of my plastic, making sure I have a good bond to my glass. And to embellish this even further, I want to add this cute rustic finial on the top. This is just from a crib part, using some Gorilla Glue as well as a hot glue combo to give us this proper hold. Let the glue sit for 24 hours for a proper hold, and then we'll come in and embellish the rest of this piece after I wipe off any excess glue. I am creating a simple bow with our scrap fabric in this beautiful tan color, just arranging that bow how I want, and then manipulating it with some hot glue to hold in the place I want. With my scissors, I trim off any of the excess or the flyaways and trim up those tails as well. With hot glue, I will open up my little tails here and apply a slight dab of glue just to add those in the place I want. And with DIY dark wax, we are going to age up that spindle just a little further to give it one cohesive look, applying that on thoroughly and then wiping off the excess when we are done. I will let this sit for a little bit and then come back in and do that part. Going to embellish it with these little sprigs again, twisting up some floral wire around and pressing in with my pliers, wrapping it around the handle for easy removal and change of the floral with the seasons. Add a cute little button to finish off the look, you guys, and our top part is complete. Adding a raw wood round for our base and placing our cloche on top of that. A thrifted marriage here, you guys. To embellish up our pieces, since we're doing a fall theme here, adding our sweet white pumpkins and once again our rust floral foliage to our piece. And then this project is done. Look how beautiful this simple transformation is by just using some IOD transfers, adding a little salvage spindle to the top and some beautiful foliage, you guys. What do you guys think of this piece? I think this is a piece now that's going to be staged up in my home. But down in the comments, you guys, let me know if you would like to find a cloche now to upcycle. But for this basket, we are going to use it a little bit different and create something you guys, I'm pretty sure, will love. But first, let's go ahead and tackle this color here. I'm just coming in with the folk art chalk paint in the color mocha, adding water to it and making it into a wash. Now remember, you can make any paint color a wash just by simply adding water and smooth it onto your project, wiping off the excess and making it a wash slash stain kind of look here. So I'm just dipping in my brush a little bit into that paint as well as back into my wash, because I want a little bit of a darker tone throughout my basket here. So as I deepen that tone, I go ahead and flip it over and also do the back. Just pat my towel, my paper towel on here using my heat gun to finish up the drying process. And then I want to seal this, so I'm coming in with that Rust-Oleum matte clear finish. It's just an easy way to seal up your projects. Now remember, I told you we're going to do this a little bit different, so I'm bringing in this garland piece that I got from Hobby Lobby. First, just trimming down that piece just to make it smaller so I'm able to work with it, and then unwind all of the little stems from the larger stem, making little picks for our wreath that we are going to create out of this basket. Now as I'm layering up these pieces, I decide that I want a little bit more color variation in my basket. So here I come in with just some white wax. You can choose any wax you want, any color you want, but I am coming in with DIY white wax. I'm going to layer that on with a simple paper towel, just blending that in, layering it up as much as I want. Just going to work with that. And then to add a little bit more layered look, I'm coming in with my dark wax brush and the remaining dark wax that's on there. I didn't add any more, and I'm just going to blend up that white wax into that basket with this brush, adding another color and another variation to our basket. And I know it's starting to look a little bit similar like our beginning, but I promise you guys, with that darker tone, it gives it a little richer look here. Now as far as the basket is concerned, remember this is going to be my wreath, and I am simply going to layer up all these little stems and goodies around using the original wire that came with the pieces, and adding some extra floral wire to attach the parts that are loose or need to have more structure against that basket as well. Just weaving it through the hole and then tying a knot in the back or twisting them smooth. Now I eventually just use 4 of these stems, layering them up one on top of the other. Once again, coming back in with that floral wire to attach these pieces, weaving them through the basket and twisting them into a knot. Now as far as color, I want to add a little bit more color, so I decide to come in with these Jubilee fabric pieces, and you can just buy them at jubilee.com, and it comes in a jelly roll with these different layers of fabrics. But I choose these 2 colors here, this green plaid and a little bit of a turquoise color on the other one, layering up those 2 pieces out, crisscrossing them and making a layered bow here. Now I'm just measuring them out as far and big as I want my bow, collect the fabric in the center, and then with a piece of twine I go ahead and tie a knot into that center of the fabric, fluffing out my fabric and maneuvering and manipulating the fabric how I want to get it set up the way I want, and then come in with a pair of scissors and create cute little dovetails at the end of our piece. As I position my bow here, I go ahead and come back in with that floral wire, wrapping it around the center of our bow, and then once again weaving that floral wire through our basket, twisting it in the back and clipping off any excess. Now we have this so far like here, but I am going to come in with this frame, and remember this is just a simple frame, but I love that brown color. It matches that mocha color that we placed into our basket here, and it gives us a beautiful layered look. You can even put a family portrait in there, but I am going to be adding this cute bird image that has those beautiful fall tones and colors into them. I'll trim off the picture, matching it with the backing here. And if you notice, I do have a little bit of white strips on the side, so all I do is come in with the extra pieces of my picture and glue those to those spots to make it one color here that I don't want the little white strips to show. And if I could print out a different picture, I'll do that as well. But to attach and layer up this piece, once again, you guys, coming back in with that floral wire, hooking it to the back hook of the picture, and then through the basket and tying it in the knot, fixing up our bow, layering up our flowers, and then this cute little basket wreath is done, you guys. You can take any wall basket, any basket, and make it a whole new piece, just fluffing out the little bow here, and then lastly I'm going to come in with that button, you guys, and I'm bringing in that brown from our frame back into our bowl and then pulling everything together that way. Now here is our finished look. So you're gonna have to let me know what you think in the comments, but look at all these beautiful layers and all these beautiful textures that come together to make one unique piece here. The colors and the vibrance, that brown frame pulls everything together, tones everything down, as well as showcases those wispy florals or wispy fall leaves that we got going on. We got the softness of the bow and the hard surface of the frame. So let me know, you guys, down in the comments. Leave me that comment. And if you want to have more DIY projects, you can come join me on Facebook where I go live, I make reels, and there's so much inspiration for you guys. For our next piece, we thrifted this wooden sign with missing letters, and we are going to transform this. Now, I am just removing all this lettering here, doing my best to come in under. Now the problem is here that it has left me with all this glue stuck to it. I'm going to try different techniques, coming in with my heat gun here and trying to scrape off the glue, and as well as come in with some Goo Gone, layer that up and see if we can scrape it off after it sits. After a few hours of sitting, I coming in with my knife here and trying to scrape off all this glue. Now it did loosen some of the glue that was on the surface, but the harsher glue, I guess, didn't really soften, or it's not coming off, you guys. So I'm just going to really work with this, trying to remove all that glue. And as I get everything as low as I can, I'll come in with my sandpaper, try to sand it that even lower, just trying to get an even surface here to move on to our next spot. Now this part is where I do not like. It's kind of raised and really bumpy, so really trying to work that sandpaper over that spot. Then I'm going to come in and thoroughly wipe everything down, and then we're going to see how we did, you guys. Now I think I got it smooth enough to work with here, but we'll find out shortly. So as I put on this paint, there's a piece here that I do not like. I'm coming back in with that mocha color. You see that circle right there? I do not like that look. So I'm coming in with Dixie Belle Sea Spray, a texture additive. We are going to mix a little bit of our mocha in with some of that sea spray additive, texture additive, and we're going to mix that up thoroughly. And instead of giving this a smooth surface, we are going to add some texture to this piece, trying to camouflage all the imperfections on the top wood. Now I'm going to go ahead and layer on our texture paint here, and then as you see me working my brush, coming in with that stippling motion to build up even more texture with these little grooves and peaks and valleys in our paint. Do the same thing to the sides of our wood piece here. Let this thoroughly dry, and then I'll come in with a second coat of paint and cover all this up. Now as far as the top is concerned, I want to come in with a very simple look because this is a riser. You're going to be covering most of this anyway, but I do want a little bit of a cuteness and a little bit of a stencil work here. So I'm using French Linen by Dixie Belle and a Dramy Ray Vintage stencil, and we are just going to use this stencil, placing it how we want on our board here. Now remember, stencils can be used any way you want. You don't have to use them exactly. You can manipulate them and piece them together. You can even use multiple stencils to make your own unique design. So we're just going to piece together some of the wording here that I want, coming in with the word cotton. And I'm not worried about a full coverage look here because I do want to distress this piece. This is going to be a very rustic looking riser, since we are going to add some legs to it, and we're going to use some nails, some glue, and all that good stuff. So I add the number 10 on the top. I'm going to use my heat gun to dry everything up, and then come in with a piece of sandpaper to distress everything, you know, being heavy on the metal pieces, on the edges, and then come in and do the wording as well, soften that look, wipe everything off with a napkin, and then I'm going to layer in some gray grunge, mixing that with some DIY dark wax, and come in and do the edges, blending it around first, and then coming in and moving towards the inside. So you do see this heavy blob of wax there. I don't like that, so I'm going to come in with the DIY clear wax and put that on my brush and help both of these colors blend a little bit better onto this piece, and go around in circle motions again, hitting those edges, making them darker, and then working towards the middle. Coming in with my paper towel and drying up all the excess. And then as far as the bottom, adding the legs in, we're taking these little hooks off because this was a sign. And then we are going to add some little square pieces of wood here. So I have this block here, and I'm just going to measure that with the other blocks. I tried to remove those blocks and it was damaging my piece, so I just left them in. And the solution I came up with is just to make some little blocks to match on the end. Coming in with my miter saw, I just trim up those little blocks. And we are going to use this spindle as well to make some feet. Now here you see me coming in with E6000, but you guys, this glue did not hold for me. Like, I try to put some weight on it at the end of this. It did hold the blocks here, and I was worried that my brad nail would not go through this metal. I don't think it is real metal. I think it's a faux metal. So I went ahead and add nails on each side, holding securely the feet. And then here you go, guys. It's a cute little simple project. You see some of the wording there still, and you see all that beautiful distressing edges. You see the natural tone of the wood. I didn't get you guys a before shot without it staged up. I apologize. I'll try to put that on my page. But look how beautiful this looks, all layered up from a simple sign. Now, if you guys want to shop any IOD products, Dixie Belle products, or Fusion Paint products, please use my affiliate link down in the comments. Rolling pan by just adding some simple ribbon, cleaning it up, and just giving it a little bit of help to display in your Crocs, in your home, wherever you like. Coming back in with the same fabrics we used on our first craft. We're going to make this kind of a little set here. I am simply going to tie a ribbon around the base of the piece. I love the weathered look of this rolling pin. I love the aged look of the color that it has. And all I'm going to do is dress this up and give it a little country chic vibe here with a fall aesthetic. Now this is from the Jelly Roll again, that Jubilee homespun fabric. I just tied a simple bow as if you were tying your shoes, trimmed up all the little flyaways here, put some dovetails on the base of our ribbon pieces, and with that same beautiful floral that we have used on our previous projects, taking our scrap floral pieces, adding a cute little bundle, wrapping that up with twine, and of course pinching that tight for a solid hold here. I am coming in with the end of my pen here and making some little curly cues or trindles on this piece, bringing in a little bit of a rustic element. I'm placing this onto our rolling pin, adding a couple of staples on the top as well as the base to hold our little bouquet in place. Now those staples are easily removable, just fluffing out that piece and continuing on recreating that bow for our finished look, placing those bows in back of that trindles and layering up the piece how I like. I decided to add a little bit of a feminine element here and a softness with a lace coffee dyed bow. Finish this off with a little button and then decide to come in with a tag. So I have this little cardstock tag from Amazon using my Fab Tap glue, also from Amazon. I go ahead and put a little vintage style paper on top from Temu, cut that out, follow the pattern of the tag, and then trim off the bottom because it's a little bit too long for me. Just going to trim off that excess on the bottom I don't want. Trim up those corners as well, and of course come in and distress this piece up. I'm not going to add any wording or anything to this because remember, we want all these pieces to flow and transition with your needs. So look at this beautiful rolling pan. That wood tone was just beautiful, its natural tone, and all you do was add a little bow and an element and give it a little bit of some country charm here to place in your home. Let me know what you think of this piece down in the comments. I thank you all for joining me for today's video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell on your way out so you can come back and see future videos as well. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Here's those projects one more time, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. Bye, friends.